Again, welcome to CS 102, Introduction to Programming Using Java. This is Unit 5 lab work, which covers Chapter 5 of our course textbook. In this section, we are learning how to use the Java conditions and loop statements. So our main objective is to solve two problems here using Java selection statement and also repetition. So here we have a question saying that we should write a program that determines and print the number of odd, even, and zero digits in an integer value read from the keyboard. So this means our input will be a value that a user may use the keyboard to enter. For example, 5, 10, it can be any value. Then we are going to determine if the number is a odd number or even number or zero. Now, this means how do we determine if a number is an even or odd? We use the remainder operator, because if we divide a number by 2, if the remainder is 1, then it's a odd number. If the remainder is 0, then it's even number. And also we use the equality operator to check if the number is equal to 0. But here we are going to count the number of odd, even, and zero digits, which means we are going to allow the user to enter more than one value. So we have to use a loop. The best loop to use here is a while loop, because we don't know how many times the user will enter, how many values he will enter. So we are going to use a sentinel value to check the while loop. So again, here we start with our main class, which is count digits. So the program name is countdigits.java. We import the scanner class from Java utility package, because we are going to have the scanner object and use it to get an input from the keyboard. So we have our main method. Again, the program here will count the number of odd, even, and zero digits in an integer input values. So here we have a first variable named odd count. We initialize it to 0 to make sure there's no any value. We also have even count. We initialize to 0. These are the variables that will hold the number of even we have, the number of odd numbers we have, and also the number of 0 we have will go to the 0 count variable. Then the variable name value, this is where we are going to enter our value into. And then we also have the variable name digit. So first we create our scanner object named scan. Then we ask the user to enter an integer value. So we use the scan object.nestInt, and we enter the value into a variable named value. Then we want to make sure that the value is a positive value. So we use the absolute function. So match.absolute, which means if the user enter negative value, we make sure it's positive value. And now we check if the value that the user enter is equal to 0, then we increment the 0 count. Now, why the value is greater than 0? First of all, we take the digit out, because again, if the user enter a value, let's say 2 digits, 3 digits, we want to take the digit, last digit. So here we said if the value is greater than 0, then the value modulus 10 we assign to a variable named digit. So this means if the digit we enter is equal to 0, then we count the 0 if the digit is equal to 0. Else, if the digit modulus 2 equal to 0, we count the even number. Then if it's not a 0 and it's not even number, then it should be odd number. Then we also have the value divided by 10 we assign to the value. So again, we reduce the value. So that's the whole concept here. So again, the beginning we can see we enter the value. We don't know, it can be 2-digit, 3-digit value, it can be any value. But if the user enter, the value enter is equal to 0, then we count the 0 count. Now, if the value enter is 0, that means this while loop will not work, because it's 0 greater than 0 now. But if you enter any value, let's say 1, 2, any value, then we can go inside the while loop. So let's assume the user enter 1. Is 1 greater than 0? Yes. So we come here. 1 modulus 10 will give us 1 divided by 10. The remainder will be what? The remainder will be 0. 1 divided by 10. The answer will be 0, remainder 1. So this means this will be, digit will be 1. Then here we say, okay, if digit equal to 0, then that's false. If digit 1 modulus 2, that's false, because 1 divided by 2 is 0, remainder 1. Then this means 1 is a whole number. So this is how we are going to check. Then here also we check the value again. We divide the value by 10 and we assign to, so if the value is 1, 1 divided by 10 is 0. So is 0 greater than 0? No. So we stop. So that's the whole concept here of this program. Now, the second program, they say we should design and implement a program that will count the number of integer values in a test input file. Then we produce a table listing the values we identify as integer from the input file. So this means we have to get our input from a file. So the first thing, we import the java.io input-output package. Then we also import the scanner class. The file name is int counter. And so this program will count the number of integer read from a test file and then print the table of the integer and then the total count of integer found in the file. So again, we have our main method. We throw the IO section, which we are going to discuss in the future section handling in Java. For now, let's hold it. So we declare our variable count. We initialize it to 0. And we get our scanner object name input. But this time we are not using the system.in. System.in is for, again, getting input from keyboard, but this time we are getting input from a file. So we use file, and the file name is the argument of the file method here. So new file, the input.txt. Now, if this file is in the same directory or is in the same folder as the program, then we don't need to write the directory down. But let's say if it's in different folder or different drive, then we have to include the directory. So here we are assuming we have a file named input.txt. It's a test file and it's in the same folder as the program. So scanner object get access to it. So here we say the system.out.println, the integers found. So it will be as following. So we say while input.hasNestInt. So this is a special method, which is almost the same concept as iterators. So this will check if this is true, then system.out.println, we have input.nestInt. We print the input, we tap it, we increment the counter. Then we say that if the count modulus 5 equal to 0, then we print system.out.println. We are arranging our results as a table. So again, this will make it possible to print again the values or the int inside the input.txt file. And after we finish, we just print 2 lines. And then we print the count, whatever the number of, because anytime we get an input, system.out.print, input.nestInt, we increment the count by 1. So the count will tell us how many values we have. So that will be the conclusion of this short lectures, again, solving these 2 problems. So see you in the next lab work. Thank you.